Bruns.
Hey, Will. When you were kind of putting together your staff, and you kind of landed on Lance as the guy you wanted to run your offense, can you kind of, I guess, speak to what maybe initially kind of attracted you to him as a coach, and the way he kind of ran things, and maybe kind of how, I guess, in year 1.5 here, things are kind of looking from kind of how you wanted it to initially?
Yeah, Lance and I go way back. I mean, he was a player at A&M. I guess my first stint there with Coach Childress when he first got the job, and I was a volunteer coach. He was there, and then I hired him at Texarkana, and he took a job with basically no pay, just getting right into it, and just took a chance to come there and basically be a second assistant, but at that point in time, had a lot of input with the hitting, had been around, Coach Childress, Coach Deggs, Coach Talbot, some of those guys who I've really respected, down at Texas A&M, Coach Sawyers as well. And, just had a chance to really get to know him well and work with him for a couple of years there. And got pretty close from a friendship standpoint as well. And so the trust was there. And then, he went off and kind of paved his own way with Coach Deggs at Louisiana Lafayette after he left Texarkana, and learned an awful lot from him. I have a ton of respect for Coach Deggs and how he runs an offense, how he just kind of creates a team atmosphere and those type of things. So he spent, the years there at Lafayette with him, and then on to Sam Houston State when Matt got that job. So he's had a ton of responsibilities from a recruiting standpoint, from a offensive standpoint, the short game, the running game, those type of things. Just very much, we've just kind of been brought up in a little bit of the same circles that way. And so it was a no-brainer for me when I got this job. I knew I was ready to kind of step away from being the third base coach and running the offense, and also knew I needed to have somebody I really trusted in order to do that, and that was Lance. So I think he's done an amazing job just in every facet that you could possibly want, just establishing what we want from a recruiting standpoint, and coming in and implementing an offense that's going to be team-based, team-oriented. You've got to have buy-in to do that. The way he relates to the players, he's tough, but he's fair, and he keeps it light. And I can't say enough great things about what he's brought to our team.
How did you guys get that buy-in to that team concept initially? Because I mean, that's a little bit of a bit of a change, I guess, from maybe what guys might have been used to before.
Yeah, again, I'll always just continue to point to the upperclassmen on this team and just the character of the guys that were already here, the talent that was already here. Again, yeah, we're asking them to play a little bit of a different style of baseball, but again, they're just all high character young men, and they were just welcomed us with open arms, and were open-minded to learn and to. We came into this situation. Yeah, I didn't recruit these upperclassmen, but I knew a lot about them just having followed the program. So knowing what skill sets they had, what they could bring to the table, these guys have just been tremendous to coach from that aspect, the older guys, because they've really bought in quickly. And when your older guys buy in, that just kind of trickles down to the rest of the roster and the rest of the team, and that's what those guys have brought, and it's made the transition pretty seamless.
Well, I guess I'll ask you about your other assistant then. What makes Coach Christie a good pitch caller? And I wonder if you have some examples that come to mind this year where how he's gone about things have maybe helped you guys win a game or swung a big moment.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's had the mask on. He's been directly behind home plate. He's called games. He's been with pitching coaches that are great pitch callers in college, and caught some really good arms. And he worked his way all the way up to AAA. Unfortunately, not because of his bat. Sorry, Coach Christie, but because he was a great catcher. And and he obviously, you're calling your own game in minor league baseball, so you're handling all the prospects. You're handling major league guys as well. Just learning the game and just being right there with it. you learn an awful lot as a catcher. So I've just been able to witness that even at times, at Texas A&M when he called pitches a couple different occasions when Coach Childress was gone. We had a lot of success. And I just think it comes down to, you've got to have good communication with your catchers that are in the game at that point in time, your pitchers as well, the feedback that they give you that you don't necessarily see from the dugout. You've got to have faith to call some big pitches and big spots where, it'd be easy just to make a safe call and throw a pitch that, well, hey, if he puts it in play here, let's hope he hits it at somebody. Or you make a call in a big 3-2 spot, to get a punch out or to, really get off the field with a lot of momentum. So, again, I just think he studies the game very well. He's very prepared from a scouting report standpoint. He's got great communication with his catchers and his pitchers. And I just think he can set guys up. I mean, he can, the way he calls pitches, he can set hitters up just with certain sequences, what he sees, what he's seen from video, and what he feels on game day. There's just a lot of trust there with his pitchers and catchers, and Jeff has always been a great pitch caller.
Yeah, different topic, but I was wondering if you could clarify, did you guys officially put in a bid to host a regional? And obviously that's not how this process normally works in a regular year. So if you did, were there any additional reasons for wanting to host this year beyond kind of the obvious parts of that?
Yeah, we did. We put in a bid to host. And that's, I would say the reason behind that is because we have administration that's very supportive of baseball and all of our athletics in general. So we did put in a bid to host. It is a different year, like you said. I mean, usually you're the Saturday or the Sunday before regionals start, you're figuring out who's hosting regionals. They're wanting to do it a little bit earlier this year, I imagine, just because of the health and safety protocols that have to go into it and not trying to get that done last minute. But yeah, we wanted to put a bid in. Figured if we keep playing a high level of baseball, we'd have an opportunity to host. We feel like we have the facility to do so. We have the fan base to do so. Like I said, we have the administration that's very supportive. We've done it in the past. And we'd love to have the opportunity to do it again.
Chris Bassinet.
Well, with everything you said about Lance and Jeff, does that just speak to the value of having, really good assistants, high level assistants that allow you to maybe do some different things as a head coach and like you said, having the trust in them to kind of run some pretty major parts of what you're trying to get done?
Of course. And I've learned from some of the best head coaches just as a player and as an assistant coach, just, you've got to hire the right guys. You've got to hire guys that you trust, and you have camaraderie with, and just let them do their job. That's the biggest part, and that's what I learned watching Coach Van Horn and Coach Childress, having worked for him, and Darren, for that matter. Darren hired me and gave me a ton of responsibilities and let me, kind of get my feet wet as a Division I assistant coach. So. You've got to hire the right guys. You've got to hire guys that you trust. And there was no doubt in my mind. I mean, I've known those guys for years, and we're all great friends. I said it when I hired them, though. I didn't hire them because we're friends. I hired them because they're great baseball people. They're great teachers, recruiters. They care about the kids. That's a huge part of it. And speaking a little bit of the buy-in, I think guys have to know that you care about them too before they're going to listen to what you say. So that's what those guys bring to the table. Our families are all very close. I think we have kind of a family type atmosphere amongst our coaching staff, and I think that trickles down to our team.
Mike Babcock. Mike, you're on mute.
Sorry, as usual, I'm better off when I'm muted. Luke Roskam specifically, has he put in a lot of work in preparation to play first base? It seems like he's played really well defensively at first base when you've had him over there.
The thing about Luke is he's played a lot of different positions in his career. To say that he's put in a lot of work, sure. We honestly kind of just we know that he's pretty gifted with his feet around the bag. He's got good hands, and he's locked in on every pitch. So we really we knew we could just kind of put him over there without having to get a ton of reps in practice at times. I mean, he spent most of his time with the catchers preseason and really as the season got going along. And honestly, probably more time at third base than anything else besides catcher. So we just had all the faith in him that we could put him at first base and it would be pretty a seamless transition for him because of those things I said. I mean, he's a kind of a captain on the infield, just having been a catcher. He brings that to first base. He's got good hands. He's got good feet. So yeah, and now that he's played a little bit more first base, he's certainly done a really good job in practice of, like I said, commanding the defense over there. Communication's been great, and just really taking control of the infield.
All right, last one, Evan Bland.
Hey, well, how would you characterize what Kyle Perry's influence has been behind the scenes this year? And do you guys have a general sense for if and when he might still be able to contribute this year?
Yeah, gotta love KP. He's a energy giver, man. He is a guy that even though he's injured, and I'd throw Colby Gomez in there too, two guys that are hurt, that are injured, that just care an awful lot. They bring it in the dugout, and KP's a guy that we've traveled on weekends, even knowing that he's not going to pitch because what he brings to the team from a chemistry standpoint, and just he's the type of guy that he brings the intensity, but he also has a way of keeping it loose as well, which is what you want. That's what you want in the dugout. I kind of put him in charge at times in the dugout, and we go back and forth during the game. And he's a great teammate. He brings that attitude to the yard every day. He loves baseball. He loves his teammates. From that aspect, he's helped our team even without throwing a single pitch, and that's really what you want in a player. And we're coming up on the time frame here where we're going to start to see him throw to live hitters here pretty soon. He's throwing bullpens now. Right at the cusp of throwing bullpens. He's already throwing breaking balls with flat grounds. Arm feels great. Rehab's gone really well. We've already seen Tyler Martin come back fairly quickly from the same surgery and help the team out this year. I would expect Kyle to make an impact probably in the next few weeks on our staff, and not necessarily going to be able to build him up probably to throw a ton of multiple inning outings, but I think he could be a valuable guy out of the bullpen that can throw strikes, and he ain't scared. You give him the ball, even though he hadn't thrown a pitch all year, and it could be a big situation, he's not going to bat an eye at it at all. And again, part of that is that he's been so locked in with his teammates, even when he's not been pitching and been engaged in the games. Feels like he's right there with them, and they'll be right behind him when he gets the ball.
If I could just ask you quick about Penn State, too. What do you see from them in your scouting?
They've played well at times. They're right there. In that the group of teams that are kind of right in the 500 range. They've swung the bats really well at times. I feel like they've got very experienced starting pitching, guys with good stuff, guys that can navigate through a lineup. They're very experienced that way. I think they've got a couple of really good bullpen arms as well. Pretty veteran lineup, and they try to create some offense. They've got some guys that want to bunt. They got guys up and down the lineup that can run. I do know that, and they're going to try to, create a little havoc. Where with the bunt game, maybe a slash here and there, some hit and runs, and those type of things. So just like everybody else in this league, we've got to show up and play our best if we want to have the results that we want to have this weekend.
Okay, that's it for Coach Bolt. I have Luke Roskam here. Just a second.
Thank you.